and someone told me that I should concentrate on the Gene poems, the grief poems, um, because he said that a book about poetry is only as good as the worst poem in it, which kind of struck me as wow, because that's the one people will say, I don't like this poem, and they'll reject the whole book.
This is People and Their Poems, a podcast about the poems that make a difference in our world. People and Their Poems is presented by Ornog Mountain Publishing. Thanks for joining us today.
Welcome to People and Their Poems podcast. I'm your host, Sandy Carlson, and I am here today with the one and only Jack Sheedy, a lifelong writer, a reporter, a memoirist, and an extraordinary poet from the Northwest corner who's going to talk to us today about his writing life. Thanks for joining me today, Jack.
Oh, glad to be here, and thank you for asking me. This is a thrill. This is a real privilege to be on your show. Thank you.
Well, thank you. So you've been writing in a lot of different genres over time. Would you just talk to us about what inspired you to pick up a pen or a pencil once upon a time and brought you in the direction of poetry?
I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life when I was just a kid. You know, a lot of people seem to be born, I want to be a fireman or whatever, but I never had that dream. I thought maybe I'd want to be a railroad engineer, maybe a scientist, maybe, I don't know. And then I went to Catholic school for 8 years, first through 8th grade. And in 7th grade, I was about 12. Sister Mary Jane had a little exercise for us involving words. And she wrote a sentence on the board. I don't remember the whole thing. Walking down the dark hallway, I did such and such. And she said, take this sentence, replace some of the words, like the verbs, the nouns, the adjectives, prepositions even, and just replace it with a similar word, similar meaning. And you can use your dictionaries, she said. So, it was kind of fun, except that, I changed, I unwittingly changed some of the meanings of the words because, each shade of meaning is different within a group of synonyms. So I used perambulating instead of walking. And it was funny. I mean, I got a good mark on it. I got one of the few, I'd say 25% of the student body got their essays on the bulletin board, which was a real honor. I got an A- on it. And I was real proud of it. It was a lot of fun. And I got some good feedback from Sister. And all of a sudden I thought, this is fun. I love words. I love working with words. I had yet to learn that words are tools, not, just because you own a hammer and a nail, that doesn't make you a carpenter. You have to learn the trade. So there's a trade to writing as well. And I had to learn that as I went along. I just had a lot of fun writing nonsense poems and essays. And I started keeping a journal around that time, age 12. I still keep a journal. I have all my journals since age 12 to today, millions of words. And it just keeps me in touch with my thoughts and feelings. But what I write about mostly, it seems, is family. And I didn't realize that until you suggested, what inspires me to write. And I think it's family. My first book, Sting of the Heat Bug, was about what happened in my family when my older sister passed away. Against all my prayers and wishes, I was taught that in school, whatever you pray for in Jesus' name, it will be granted unto you. So, I mean, I could be a Red Sox fan and pray that they beat the Yankees, and next to me is a Yankees fan praying the exact opposite. Jesus is not going to answer both prayers, not literally anyway. So I had to.
No, he's going to back up the Yankees. Come on.
Yeah, come on. I had to relearn what that promise meant. And I think you have to think beyond the scripture, beyond Proverbs, beyond all those sayings in our lives. My sister died, So that 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 kind of blew things apart in my universe. And I had to learn that you have to be forgiving, you have to be loving. Uh, what I mean by that is a friend of mine also passed away, you know, uh, several years before Peggy did. And I was actually swimming with him and he drowned. And I felt horrible, obviously. And I went to his funeral and his father was there. And his father, said, Jack, what happened? And I told him, and I couldn't save him. And he said, you must be so devastated. I'm so sorry, Jack. This was the man's father feeling sorry for me, who was just the friend, not blood, but this man was reaching out to me and he had a tear in his eye. And the tear was for me, not for himself. That taught me a big lesson about, um, well, this goes into the next one of the other questions. What did I learn about myself? That I learned that if I can be forgiving, if I can reach out to people in some way, um, that will make me feel better, make them feel better. It will solve a lot of problems for both sides.
Yeah, I hear you, Jack. Those are huge lessons, and I mean, cataclysmic experiences. How old were you when these things happened? When you lost your friend and then your sister?
I was 21 when my friend died. He was 20. We were swimming at Highland Lake, and he got into deep water, and I couldn't get to him in time. I actually had him by the wrist, and he was underwater, and he slipped out of my wrist. So, and I carry that with me today, to all these years later.
Yeah,
But
it was.
really, there was not much I could do. I blamed myself for decades. And I even used to visit the site of the accident on the anniversary. I gave up doing that because I have to forgive myself eventually. So I think I
Right.
finally have.
And
I didn't do anything malicious. I didn't try to kill him or anything. I just didn't succeed in saving him. So
did that
don't beat
particular
myself.
no, absolutely not. But did
Yeah.
that experience and processing that experience feed into your writing as well?
Actually, I included that episode in Sting of the Heat book. So
Mhm.
yes, I used that as an example of what my philosophy was turning into. I think, who was it? Francis Bacon said that writing makes an exact man. Um, it makes you a fuller person. It teaches you just the act of writing teaches you something about yourself. And writing the book taught me that writing that first book taught me a lot of things about myself that I didn't even know. For example, be forgiving, be understanding of other people. So yeah, that really fed into my writing.
That's, I mean, the courage that it takes to go there and recreate and go through those experiences again is something that writers find the courage to do. And that you did, and thank goodness, because you've made a tremendous gift of your experiences through your books. Could you speak a little bit about the genres you've explored, prose and poetry and nonfiction as a reporter? How do your experiences show up in all those genres? Are there some that are more suitable to the experiences you're trying to explore? Does it change over time, or?
I've tried almost every genre I can think of. I'm not. I thought I was going to be a novelist when I was younger. I'm going to be a novelist. That's why I want to write. I've tried writing a novel once, and it is not easy. And I actually finished the first draft of a novel, and it was really crap. It was really bad, and I'm not gonna try to publish it. So I don't know whether I should try to write a novel again or not. But I think I'm pretty good at writing memoir. I'm writing good. Good at writing essays, personal essays, and poetry now too. I mean, it wasn't until I married a poet named Gene Sands back in 1989, that I was introduced to the power of poetry. Poetry won't feed your family. Poetry is not, and it used to be. It used to be a way to make a living, but not anymore. It's just a way to entertain, a way to educate, and it's almost like a sideline, in my opinion, for writing. If you're going to make a living out of words, poetry is not the way to go. But it is a good way to express yourself, your emotions, and to connect with people, because people love to read good poetry, and you're a great poet too. I love your poetry. So.
Thanks, Jack. And I think and our first encounter was through a musician,
Sarah Marzi.
Sarah
Yes.
Marzi, who married poetry with music and took it to yet another level. And
Yeah.
you're right. It feeds us in a different level. Not only it doesn't put the food on the table, but it feeds some other aspect of our
Yeah.
psyches. And I think that the way it brings people together and makes these kinds of conversations happen and stop and think about who we are and how we experience what it means to be alive is really it's so vitally important. And it makes me think of the mythographer Joseph Campbell, who had his famous mythology conversation with Bill Moyers in the late 80s before he passed away. And he talks about how what we have in the center of our cities tells us what's important. And he talks about in the churches at one point being the center of communities. And if you happened upon a city and they saw the horizon, you would see the steeples and how those gave way to our banks. And
Oh, okay. Yeah.
and it's really interesting how our values change. And just and the times we've had where libraries have been important and places where people are cherishing their words. I mean, our own history as a country has that story in it. Thank you, Ben Franklin.
Yeah.
Just the importance of sharing those ideas and being in places where ideas can be shared makes us better people, better citizens, right? And informed populace and all that good stuff. But I digressed. I went down my little Joseph Campbell.
That's okay. That's good. That's a good digression.
So why don't I come out of that rabbit hole and ask if you would share some of your work with us? Would you do some reading?
All right. Yeah. I'll read from, I don't know if you can see this. I can't see it myself. So can you see
The
this?
Wanting Place, yes.
The Wanting Place. Hang on, I got to put my cheaters on. How about that? This is a book I wrote, speaking about family and writing about family. My second wife, Jean Sands, the poet, passed away almost 10 years ago now. And I wrote this book as a way of keeping her memory alive within myself and for other people, because she had a great following and a great many friends. You and I have read together some of these poems, I remember, and I enjoyed that experience with you. One of the poems is called Butterflies, and this is actually absolutely true. I had a dream, and this is the dream that I had, and it's called Butterflies. 1 year later, your posthumous book at my bedside. Finally, I dream of you. Not the woman I met 30 years ago, unstoppable, taunting me to keep up. Not the woman of 20 years ago, when you wrote features, taught poetry to kids, essay writing to adults. And not the woman of 10 years ago, writing that first book, feeling a little joint pain, but laughing through it all. In my dream, you were the frail wife I lost, the woman who ached all over, needed my arm to lean on. Let me walk to the hilltop, you said. You wanted to walk those 100 steps, wanted to reach that green meadow, glimpse a deer, fruit trees, butterflies. Feel the sun of a bright morning. I offered my arm. I can do this, you said, and walked out of sight to the hilltop. You did it without oxygen, without walker, without cane, without me. It's beautiful, I heard you say. There are butterflies.
Not only are your words poignant, but your delivery is spot on, and it's heartrending. It's and so full of love. I can, your love for Jean, as well as that there's a loneliness that comes through and
thank you. And it felt good to wake up remembering that, and it's actually word for word almost my dream, scene by scene. And I don't remember a lot of my dreams, but that one I remembered. There's another poem here I'd like to share. It's called Kodaks, and this is something I had to do after Jean passed away. I have to go through things and what to throw away, what to keep, and so on. Kodaks, part one. This plastic bin holds photos, Kodaks from a nameless time. A baby with a pink rattle, holding the bars of a playpen, with no wish to escape. Somebody will know who this is. Here's someone's wedding reception. Right side of the photo cut off. The missing piece is in another bin. The groom dancing with an ex-flame. Discretion says, destroy both halves. What's in this bin? Faces I never saw. Couples at a picnic I never went to. People long dead I never met. You kept 1,000 Christmas cards since 1962. Every birthday card and letter, every Mother's Day card, every Valentine. At least the ones from me. I'm glad I found no others. These papers fill up my house. You kept them in cupboards, shopping bags from Kohl's, between pages of Ann Tyler novels, under the bed, in closets. Part two. Before you died, you asked me to destroy these images, along with old letters, diaries filled with bitter words about former lovers. A week after I begin, one bureau is empty, but 8 boxes are filled with things that can't be tossed. Your published writings, your poems, our silly love notes from 1987. Must I purge these? My shredder overheats, jams. My trash bin won't close. I vowed to keep your memory alive, but now you must let me go. Let me make room to move on, room to offer your room to someone.
Wow.
Maybe 2 more, 3 if there's time. We'll take it. We'll figure it out. This is called Tinted Windows, and this is a kind of a fun poem. I don't know if you can see what it looks like on the page, but it's I'm not sure you can see the zigzag effect.
Yeah, I got a sort of a chevron. Yeah, that's neat.
Yeah. I just made that up just for a visual effect. And I'm not sure if this is a form. There are forms where lines are repeated. And I forgot what they call those. But this is similar to that type of form, but I think it's my own version. Tinted Windows. I want to feel so sad it makes me laugh. I want the sun to freeze, the ice to burn, the trees to grow dead fruit to ripen. I want to feel so sad it makes me laugh. I want the sun to freeze, the ice to burn. I want my heart to melt, brain to forget, my tears to gather back into my eyes. I want the sun to freeze, the ice to burn. I want my heart to melt, brain to forget. I want the tinted windows to roll down, the colors of the world to flow through me. I want my heart to melt, brain to forget. I want the tinted windows to roll down. I want fresh dew to turn to brittle frost, my love to be rejected, my soul to break. I want the tinted windows to roll down. I want to feel so sad it makes me laugh. I want the sun to freeze, the ice to burn. I want my heart to melt, brain to forget. I want the tinted windows to roll down. How much time do we have?
Keep going, Jack. Don't worry about
it. All right. All right. This might be the last one. It's called Cat's Dish. And I had this memorized at one time, but I don't have it memorized. I'd forgotten it. So I got to read it from the page. My cat gets me up in the night, crying to be fed. I stumble to the kitchen, snap open a fancy feast, spoon it into a dish as round as the hole in my heart that experts say I should not try to fill. I see how Charlotte gulps her meal. Charlotte, the cat Jean named, Jean's final act. And I see how friends feed me, take me to lunch, to dinner, come to the house with stories about Jean, how she was always there for them. Don't leave me yet, I say, but it's dark now, and of course they must. At night I go insane, shout, talk to me, to Jean's picture, and sometimes to my cat. In the day, more people come, bring more food than I could ever eat. One woman touches my arm, asks my cat's name. Charlotte, I say. Jean named her. A lovely name, the woman says. And against all sage advice, I want to pull her to me, hold her, kiss her kind lips, take her to my bed. And if she gets me up in the night, feed her.
Oh my God, that's great.
So that's from The Wanting Place. When did I publish this? 2020, I think. Or 20, yeah. Right in the middle of COVID. No, 2021. At the
2021. Jack, yeah. How long did it take you to compose those poems after Jean passed, or were you composing some while she was?
I did write some of them before she passed. And I think I tweaked them a little bit for this book. But they were kind of tumbling out of me after she went, after she died. So, I mean, there's not that many poems in there. There's like 30 some pages in the book. It's just a chapbook. And I think I told her once that I had a manuscript that was much longer than this, and there were poems about other people, other subjects, other things that happened to me. And someone told me that I should concentrate on the Jean poems, the grief poems, because he said that a book about poetry is only as good as the worst poem in it, which kind of struck me as, wow, because that's the one people will say, I don't like this poem, and they'll reject the whole book. So
right.
So I try to keep only the best poems, all focused on the grief. So.
Well, it's an amazing collection, and I like the Kodaks. We've been there. I have a box that was my grandmother's desk drawer, one of her desk drawers, and I know what happened. My mother and my aunt got sick and tired of cleaning stuff out when it was time to move my grandfather out of the family house. And the box, they just lifted what was in there and put it in a cardboard box.
Yeah.
Stuck it in the loft, and it traveled from house to house until it came to me. And I'm very sentimental, and I still have the drawer in a box, and I can open up that cardboard box and be in my grandmother's desk and see these engagement photos of my mother and goofy things you don't need to keep, like my grandmother's check register. No, there's nothing that speaks to my soul about that except the immediacy of that.
It's part of her. Yeah. I did the same. I salvaged my father's check register when he died. I really did, actually had all his canceled checks as well, but I said the register's enough. That's a record of what he did, what he spent. With my shredder, I got rid of the checks, but I kept the registers. And I came across some photo albums from another family member recently, and they were about to toss it into the dumpster. And I said, no, oh, these are, you gotta you gotta save this stuff. They're in my car right now. Someone's coming to pick them up tomorrow. Believe it or not, true story. And they're
Oh,
gonna say,
that's funny. Yeah, no, it is really because once they're gone, they're gone.
yeah,
And we
yeah,
this digital age we live in, that whole tactile experience of holding those things that somebody else held, and it has a smell,
yeah.
and the
Mhm.
it is powerful, and those incriminating old photos in a box.
Yeah, I know. I
the,
know.
the stories and all the
The groom
multiverse
dancing
of
with the next flame. Yeah, I know. It's a true story.
oh,
At
it's
his own wedding, he's dancing with his girlfriend. His former girlfriend.
dangerous. Well,
Danger, danger.
thank you, Jack. I mean, and we'll put in the notes, we'll put links to your website and to your books because people have to
Oh,
have
thank
your
you.
book. That's all there is to it. So
Thank you.
I mean, you talk about this learning experience. What would you say to anybody at any stage in life who's thinking about writing, giving it a try in any genre, and maybe feels hesitant? What do you think gets people started when they feel like they want to write and aren't sure how to get going?
Well, I don't want to repeat exactly what other people say because just get down and write. That's I'll do it in a story or an anecdote instead. I've had a journalistic career, and I've interviewed a lot of people. I've interviewed Pulitzer Prize winning authors, one of whom was a man named John Toland, lived in Danbury. I think, matter of fact, here's a few of his books right here. The Rising Sun, But Not in Shame, Infamy, The Last 100 Days, and there's more here that I've read. And when I interviewed him in Danbury, I asked him to sign those books for me, and he was glad to do it. And he was telling me that he had tried other, before he was a historian and a journalist, he was a playwright, and he created people on the stage, and he felt like he was a puppeteer manipulating people. But he said he wasn't a success as a playwright. So he tried different genres, different things, and he found his niche in history, in biography. He wrote a great, believe it or not, a great biography of Hitler. Um, you know, and he tried to understand Hitler, which I think is amazing. He got away with trying to understand the one person in human history who everyone despises. Um, but what he said to me when I was leaving, and like, because I had told him that I'm working on a novel, I'm working on this, I'm working on that, and I said I can't seem to get finished with anything. I can't seem to get started, or I can't get past a certain point. And he just said, "Don't give up." Remember that Churchill said, "We will fight on the hillside, we'll fight on the beaches, we will never surrender." Well, never give up. Churchill said, "Never, never, 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 never give up." I think it was like about 8 nevers in there. And so his parting words, John Toland's parting words to me, as we shook hands at the door, was, "Don't give up, Jack. You're going to fail. Everybody fails. Just keep on trying. If one thing doesn't work, try a different genre. I've tried them all. I'm not a good novelist. I'm getting to be a better poet. I'm a good memoirist. I'm a good essayist. Those are my strong points. And figure out yours and just hone it. Just go for it. So just don't give up, and don't think of money. Don't think of making a lot of money, because only a very small percentage of writers do that. They have um, a great publisher, a great advocate, a great muse, and you can have the greatest skill and artistic ability in the world, but if you don't if you don't have the magic uh, combination of luck and skill, it's not going to happen. People will like your work. I didn't make a lot of money. I haven't made a lot of money in my writing, but I don't care anymore. I've had fun doing it, and I'm going to keep going. I've got a an envelope framed on my computer stand that my dad wrote because he had read some of my work, and he wanted to be a writer. He was, but to me, I mean, he thought I was more successful as a writer than he was, and I don't know if I was or not or am. But he wrote, "Jack, do not ever stop writing," and it's signed Dad. And I framed that. He's dated it and everything, and it was like it was crying out to be saved, and I saved it. It's on my, and this is from 1986, something like that, 87. So I still have that. So that inspires me. So if something like that inspires you, keep keep it in plain sight, and just keep on trying. Things are going to work out for you. You're going to be a great writer.
Jack, and it sounds like some pivotal people said the right thing or did the right thing at the right time. Your dad writing that for you, but also that your seventh grade teacher, the nun who gave you pride of place on that bulletin board, and you were playing. It wasn't your magnum opus. It wasn't the Pulitzer Prize winning poem from The Prodigy. It was a beginning, and she recognized that. And and also I think another side of this conversation is what can we as an audience do for each other as listeners? And I think reacting and engaging and showing up and listening, there's tremendous power in that. And if it isn't paying the bills, it's feeding us in a way that gets the bills paid.
Join writing groups. Help others. Become better. They will help you. It's a community. The writing is a solitary occupation, but you have to get out there with other writers and just talk to each other, share ideas.
And I think it's so much about this is not the dreaded college seminar experience of everybody tearing you apart like the Red Pen Army coming to flay you. It is absolutely not that. It's people happy to have the experience of another human soul on the road, and
exactly.
And it's amazing. I think we encounter people at their best in those environments,
Absolutely. Yeah.
And, so I will eternally be grateful to Sarah Marzi for her initiative with music that put you in my path and created opportunities for us to talk and engage and share poetry. It's been really meaningful. And I'm really thrilled that you write poetry and that you've got those memoirs. And I mean, you are an amazing writer and you got some serious style there, Jack. So,
oh my gosh, thank you so much, Sandy. Just coming from a former poet laureate of the town of Woodbury, I'm so I'm so honored. Thank you for your words.
No, thank you. And we'll be seeing you around the poetry neighborhood there, Jack.
Yes, you will. I'll be around, and I look good forward to working with you again.
Yeah, and so thank you, Jack. And then I'll cut it there. I just didn't want. It's funny. I interviewed 3 kids who were like prize winners for the DeCaro Poetry Prize for the Poetry Society.
Yeah.
And I forgot to tell one of the kids, I'm going to say thank you, but please don't hang up right away.
Okay.
and boom, he was gone. It was pretty adorable, actually. Because I didn't get a chance to say thank you to him, but he was just very sincere and lovely. So it's been fun, and I'm excited about this podcast because I think your work really is It is. It's just great stuff, and so as soon as Ed has it done, I'll let you know, and we'll get it out there for the world to see and hear and
Well,
enjoy,
thank you.
you know.
Thank you, Sandy. This is the thrill for me. I appreciate it a lot.
No, thank you. And I got to tell you, I reached out to Katie Baker, the current Woodbury Poet Laureate, and I was very modern, Jack. I DM'd her in Instagram.
Okay.
You got to remember to go check that. That's the only thing, but I haven't heard back. But I thought it was such a lovely event last week or whatever it was, 2 weeks ago at,
That was a lot of fun. Yeah. Poems for two voices. It's a great, whose idea? That was your idea or Katie's?
yeah, it was my idea because because it was just to kind of get more people to kind of come out, or we've done things locally with poetry and music. And I thought, and in our little poetry group in Woodbury, we've got some musicians who have done things, and it's just like they add the sound effects, or they've got musician friends
Oh yeah.
who got all the little percussion things and add the whatever. So I just thought it might bring more people out. And I reached out to Katie because I would like to try it again in the fall. And
Okay.
and St. Paul's is very happy to have people there, and being supportive of the arts and that kind of stuff. So I'll let you know. I asked Katie if she would let me know what she thinks, because she's a great kid. But
She's brilliant. She really is. She what was the poet, Wallace Stevens?
Yeah.
She had a duet with Wallace Stevens, who recorded his stuff maybe 100 years ago. I don't know how long ago it was that when he was around, but I mean, look, it sounded like they were on the stage together. It was great.
Yeah. No, she's great, and I just thought it opened up so many creative options for people that I want to try to offer it in the fall. So maybe Patricia would be, if I have enough lead time and I give her the date, maybe it'll work out to come down this way.
Hopefully, Her schedule right now is crazy. She doesn't know 1 week from the next what her schedule will be. So she works from like 7 in the morning, or she'll start at 2 in the afternoon. So she doesn't have a fixed schedule, which makes it tough.
I bet. Well, we'll figure it out, hopefully, and make something happen. But please give her my best regards, and just thank you again for your time.
Oh, you're so welcome, and thank you for asking me to do this. It's always fun to work with you.
This has been People and Their Poems, presented by Oronog Mountain Publishing. Thanks for joining us. Be sure to check the show notes for more information about this episode. Visit oronogmountainpublishing.com for more information about our services and writing opportunities. And visit peopleandtheirpoems.net to learn more about the podcast.